Hello guys, Beast here. We've talked about how to download OBS, how to install OBS. We even went through the settings, but hey, what the hell is all this thing? Right? In this tutorial we will talk about scenes, sources, mixer, and a studio mod. Now let's start. Open your OBS. This is what you will see when your OBS is opened for the first time. Everything in this area is what your viewers are gonna see if you either recording or streaming. Now make sure your preview is enabled in order to see what your viewers are going to see. So you need to have enable preview checked. So let's start with the scenes. Basically the scene is what your viewers will see when you stream or record. You can add a scene by pressing right click and add, or pressing on the plus button. Let's add a scene and call it tutorial. Now let's add another scene and call it tutorial 2 by clicking on the plus button. You can remove a scene by clicking on the minus button when you're standing on the scene you want to remove. Or another way is by right clicking the scene and hit remove. These up and down arrows are just there in case you wanted to arrange the scenes in different order. Now after adding your scene, you need to tell OBS what to show, and you can add stuff to your scene by going to sources. So let's head into the sources and see some examples. Let's start by adding something. I want to add my display screen, which means basically whatever I see on my screen, my viewers can see the same thing. And of course you can name every source whatever you want. You will see a capture cursor option as well, which means if you want to show your viewers your mouse or not. As you can see in the background, when I uncheck it, you won't be able to see my cursor anymore. Now I can directly see what I have added because I have my preview enabled. If you don't have it checked, you won't be able to see like this. Of course, you can move it, resize it, and do whatever you want with it. And when you're happy, you can check the lock preview so you won't move it by accident. You see now, I can't move it anymore because it is locked. Now before I forget, there are 3 different ways to add a source. 1. By right clicking that and choose the source you want to add. 2. By pressing on the plus button. And 3. By right clicking on your preview and choose add. Now before going into more details about sources, let me tell you what is the mixer. As you can see, I have nothing in the mixer here. That's because of 2 reasons. 1, I don't have any scene that needs a mixer. It's as simple as that. And 2, I didn't set up my mic or my speakers here on this one. Basically, the mixer is responsible for the audio sounds on your OBS. Let me show you. For example, on this one, I have already set up my mic and desktop audio, so you will see both of them. The mixer helps you to manage your sounds as you like. You can play with each individual audio bar to make it quieter or louder depending on your needs. Now, the buttons in here are pretty much self-explanatory. If you want to start streaming, you hit in the Start Streaming button. If you want to start recording, you choose the Start Recording button. And you can go to your settings, but we have already discussed that on previous videos. And of course you can exit. In here you can see your CPU usage, your FPS, and of course when you are recording or streaming, you can see how long you've been doing so on the timers right here. And don't forget, you can assign hotkeys for these buttons instead of clicking on them. If you forgot how, or this is the first video you're watching from me, make sure to go back to my previous videos on this playlist of OBS guide to see how to do that. Now I know I skipped the studio mod, and that's on purpose, because I want to talk more about scenes and sources before showing you the studio mod. Don't worry though, it's pretty simple to use. Let's go back a bit and see how it works. I will add a new scene, as we've already know how to do so. Let's name it Hi YouTube. Now we have 2 scenes. Let's go to the scene that is called tutorial and make a new source. I will add a color source. Here you can choose the height and width. But don't do that, I will show you an easier way to make it exactly as you want. Unless you already know, of course, what width and height you want. Let me choose the red color. And now as you can see, if you try to resize it, OBS makes sure to keep the right dimensions. So in order to make it as you want, just hold the Alt key on your keyboard and you can shrink it like that. You see how easy it is? So now you can make it exactly the way you want it. You see, I can even make it fit exactly on the entire screen. Okay, now let's, for example, add a display capture, okay? As you can see, it stands on top of my color. That's why the arrows are here to help you. I will go to my color source and move it upwards on the arrow that is pointing upwards. I will just make it smaller to show you that it is now on top of my screen display. Okay, now let's go to my other scene, the Hi YouTube one, and add sources to it. You can add an image by choosing the image. It's so simple. And you can add a window capture, which basically shows a specific window that you choose. For this example, I've chosen Chrome in this case. Now let's arrange them so the image comes on top of the window. Let me move and resize it here to make it look more beautiful. You can even add a media source. It's really pretty easy. Just choose the file you want and put it the way you want. It's really that simple. Let me choose a random video and show you how easy it is. You see how easy it is? Now look how when I play with the arrows, the sources on the bottom would be hidden under the source on top of it. And as you can see on the mixer now, because we have an audio source, you can choose what volume you want that source to have. Now before we go to the final step, which is the studio mode, I want to show you two more sources. If you want to add your camera, just add source and choose video capture device. I'll name it webcam. Usually OBS will detect automatically your camera and show you here. But if you have more than one camera connected to your computer, of course you can choose which one you want to use. And as any other thing, you can play with its properties, but for me I keep it on the device default. Hit OK and arrange it the way you want it to be on the preview. You can make it as small or as big as you want, as I am showing you here while doing weird faces. Okay, now let's see how to add a gameplay. I know this one can be tricky and there are a lot of gamers out there. So let's see how to add a game. Let's add a scene for this one. And it happens that I actually have a game. You might know it, actually it's called League of Legends. So I will call my scene League of Legends. Now what you need to know for the game capture is that you need the game to be opened first. So let's go and open the game. After it is opened, I will show you the tricky part. I will go to sources and add a game capture. Let's name it LOL. Now go to capture specific window to choose your game so you don't capture other games. And now let's see what happens when I choose the game. Let's go to a game and start a custom game to see what happens.
I always take the high ground.
As you can see, you still don't see the game when I go in. And that's because it opens another window for the game itself. Look carefully, you see now I have two League of Legends windows, but this one is the actual game. Look here on my windows and in the OBS game capture properties. So let's choose the right one and hit OK. And by the way, as you can see, when you tab out of the game, it keeps showing the last frame before you tabbed out.
Stray.
But don't worry, when you go back to the game, people will be able to watch you normally. And of course, if you are having a trouble capturing your game, you can always fall back to screen capture. As of right now, you are looking inside my game from my screen capture mode, to be honest. But if you are streaming, I highly recommend you to choose the game capture mode. Okay, now finally for the studio mode. When you click on it, it will show you two screens. Basically, in order to use this mode, you need to have more than one scene. Otherwise, it's just useless. And what you need to understand is that the right scene is what your viewers see, and the left scene is where you prepare your next scene to show. For example, I am showing you the high YouTube scene, and I prepare the tutorial scene to show next. Now when you are finished with the right scene or your next scene is ready, you can click on the transition button here and the next scene will come up. You see, now they switched places and your viewers see the new scene. Of course you can keep transitioning between the scenes. And here in the quick transition you can choose how do you want it to do it. Do you want it to be cut transition or a fading one? And of course for fading you can choose the time for that one. And last thing about scenes and transitions is that if you have a media file, like me for example, I have a video, right? You can see each time I transition to its scene, the video starts from the beginning all over again. And oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget, you can always go back to the properties of any source you've added by either right-clicking on the source and choosing properties, or by clicking on the icon while standing on the source you want to see or change its properties. Here's the icon. For example, I can go to my color source and change its color. I don't need to remove it and add it again as a new color. As you can see, what I'm doing right here, changing red to green, and then I'm gonna change green right now to light blue by going to properties from this icon. I guess that's it for this tutorial, guys. I hope I could help you with something you didn't know, or if you knew this stuff before, maybe you got something new in this tutorial. If you found it helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to get notified when my next video is up. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to answer your questions. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. See ya.